In this example, we are going to look at how to divide polynomials using long division. So we are being asked to divide the trinomial x squared plus 9x plus 24, and we're going to divide that by the binomial x plus 3. So right away, since my divisor is a binomial, that's the x plus 3, I know I have to use long division. Now, there's certain cases where I can also use synthetic division, but in this particular example, I'm going to show you how to do the long division. Okay, so we're going to use long division. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set it up as a long division problem. So as we said before, my divisor is x plus 3. So I'm going to start by writing x plus 3. Then I'm going to write my long division symbol, and then I'm going to place the original dividend underneath, which is x squared plus 9x plus 24. So I have it set up as a long division problem. Now, there's 4 steps you want to follow when you're doing long division. And it's the acronym DMSB. So in a previous video, you might remember me asking you, does McDonald's sell burgers? That's how you can remember DMSB. But these really stand for divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So that's a loop that we follow. We might have to repeat it more than one cycle. It just depends on how many terms are in your original problem. But once we repeat that cycle, then those are the steps that we follow to get our final answer to the long division problem. So it's divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide, so we're on the step D for divide, x squared by x. Well, when I divide x squared by x, I get x. And notice how I line it above the 9x. I line it up because I want to line it up above its like term from the original dividend. Another way to do this is to ask yourself, what do you multiply x by in order to get x squared? And the answer is x, but it's really division, x squared divided by x. Okay, next is m for multiply. So now I take that x and I multiply it by the binomial x plus 3. So I'm multiplying it by my divisor. So x times x gives me x squared, and x times 3 gives me plus 3x. That leads me to my next step, which is s for subtract. So now I have the binomial x squared plus 9x from the dividend, and I'm going to subtract the binomial x squared plus 3x. So when you subtract, it's important you put parentheses to make sure you remember you're subtracting the whole entire binomial x squared plus 3x. So what you're really going to have to do is distribute that negative sign into the parentheses. Something that might make it a little easier is to change that subtraction sign to addition and then take the opposite of the terms inside the parentheses. And then you're really adding. So I'm adding straight down. So I'm going to add my like terms. Well, x squared plus negative x squared, those cancel each other out. So I'm going to move on to 9x plus negative 3x, and that gives me positive 6x. Now I'm ready for my B, bring down. I have the constant 24. So now I have 6x plus 24. And now my loop of my 4 steps starts over again. So I'm back up to the top with step D, but this time I'm dividing 6x by the x. Well, 6x divided by x is just 6. So I'm going to line up the plus 6 over the constant 24 because 6 is a constant. And then I'm ready for the m, multiply, but now 6 gets multiplied by the x plus 3. That gives me 6x plus 18, and now I'm at my subtract step. And again, it might be easier to change the subtraction sign to addition and then take the opposite of the terms inside the parentheses. So when I add straight down, 6x plus negative 6x is 0x, it cancels out, but I have 24 plus negative 18, which is 6. Now, the reason I circled that is because 6 is my remainder, okay? So now, I'm almost ready to write my final answer in proper form. But before that, I want to check my work. I don't want to write my final answer until I know that I've done my work. So you'll notice I have this box over here that tells me to check my work. I take my original dividend and I make sure that equals the divisor times the quotient plus that extra remainder. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our check. Okay, my divisor was the binomial x plus 3. My quotient is the x plus 6. So in case you don't remember where that came from, I'm going to write it in just a second. So I have my divisor x plus 3, my quotient times x plus 6, and then plus that remainder. Okay, so really quick, I want to label the quotient in the problem. The x plus 6 is the quotient. So my divisor was x plus 3. I'm going to multiply that by my quotient x plus 6, and then I have to add that remainder. Now, once I do all this simplifying, if I get my original dividend, then I know I've done my problem correctly. So I have to start by doing FOIL. So I'm going to get x squared plus 6x plus 3x plus 18, and then I add in the remainder of 6. So I'm going to combine like terms. So that's going to give me x squared plus 9x plus 24. Now, I go back and I look at my original dividend, and look at that, they match. Yay, happy dance. That means I did the problem correctly. So now I'm ready to look at this box down here that has a hint. It says the solution to a long division problem is written as the quotient plus a fraction. And that fraction has the remainder as the numerator and the divisor as the denominator. So remember, my quotient was x plus 6. So I checked that my answer was correct, and now I'm going to write my quotient as x plus 6 plus that remainder of 6 over the divisor of x plus 3. So now I'm confident in my final answer, and I have it in the correct format.